Is it possible that inflation is peaking? Inflation has been rising steadily since April 2021. As this headline points out, consumer prices rose 8.5% in March, slightly hotter than expected and the highest since 1981. That sure doesn't sound like inflation is getting ready to begin making an exit. However, there are experts who suggest that a piece of data tucked away in the inflation numbers could indicate that prices are peaking. But are they right? Or could data from a different inflation metric tell another story? One that suggests that prices will continue moving higher from here. Here's the peak inflation case in a nutshell. Although the consumer price index rose from 7.9% in February to 8.5% in March, the month-to-month rise in core inflation was 0.3%, less than the 0.5% increase projected. Additionally, it was the second consecutive month to see a drop in monthly core CPI. Unlike the headline inflation numbers you always hear about, core inflation does not include food and energy prices. The reason why economists like to look at inflation numbers minus food and energy is because of the excess volatility that can impact the prices of each. The volatility that affects food and energy prices frequently stems from weather, geopolitical conflicts, and other events that are not a function of monetary policy. So in the view of some economists, accounting for food and energy prices can result in an inaccurate picture of real inflation. The March core inflation numbers mark the peak for inflation. The big news in the March report was that core price pressures finally appear to be moderating. But one senior writer at Barron's isn't buying it, suggesting that to get the straight story on where inflation goes from here, we must not only look at inflation trends in food and gas, but examine those trends further up the market chain at the producer level, inside Producer Price Index or PPI. For wholesalers, the price of vegetables rose 82% last month from a year earlier. Grain prices increased 40%, while meat and fish categories rose an average 23% compared with March of 2021. Then there is energy. Home heating oil, diesel, and gasoline rose 106%, 64%, and 60% respectively. Bill Adams, chief economist at Comerica Bank, isn't on board with the idea that we have reached peak inflation either. Even with durable goods inflation moderating last month, overall price increases are going to get worse before they get better, Adams says. Inflation will weigh on consumer sentiment and consumer spending power in 2022 and 2023. The bottom line is consumers don't have the luxury of stripping out from their budgets the cost of eating, filling up their car, or heating their homes in the same way economists can strip out those costs from the inflation numbers. Given this simple reality, I believe Americans should continue defending their wallets and their bank accounts from the effects of rising prices until inflation finally waves the white flag and stops rising. To learn more about why so many Americans are diversifying their retirement savings with gold and silver right now, Sign up for a one-on-one web conference with Augusta's education team at AugustaPreciousMetals.com/webinar.
Hey guys, Joe Montana here with my man Devlin Steele. He and his team at Augusta Precious Metals are constantly putting out new information to keep you ahead of the game. Click subscribe now and hit the notification bell to stay up to date. You'll be glad you did.